Scott, some big news with the Bengals this year, and it has been an absolute disaster of a rookie season for John Ross. John Ross on Wednesday afternoon, after Marvin Lewis publicly told the press that he has a good chance to play against the Bears, hours later was placed on injured reserve with an apparent shoulder injury and something that he needs to have surgery on. This is after Ross hurt his knee in the preseason, held him out of a couple games, had an issue on Thursday Night Football in his first game back where he fumbled the ball and did not have a single catch as a rookie. So really, since 2014, the Bengals' first-round picks have all had some form of a redshirt season. Darqueze Dennard ended up on IR, I believe, that year with some injuries. Cedric Ogbuehi only played a couple of games because they drafted him when he was hurt in 2015. William Jackson III, same deal. Now you got John Ross. And these are your first-round picks. These are supposedly the cornerstones of your team, especially a guy that's a number 9 pick. Your offense has been towards the bottom of the rankings this year. Again, it's one of those things where I kind of throw my hands up in the air and I say, is this Marvin, squashing another rookie season from a promising guy? I don't want to say they're making up an injury, because if they did, that would Ross would have grounds to essentially sue the team to put him on IR if he's not really injured. So, I think he's got something going on. But Ross was for weeks a healthy scratch, and now you go, okay, is this a Marvin thing? Is this a John Ross thing? Is it both? Should he have even been the pick at number 9 after a couple of receivers had already gone? You're muted, buddy.
Sorry, it's been a while. I have to remember this whole mute thing. But yeah, and I think that's. I mean, we did this podcast live during the draft, and I remember when they drafted Ross. My recorded reaction was not very favorable. But once he's the pick, and you kind of live with it. And I think me and you probably both thought to varying degrees that Davis and Corey Davis, who the Titans took, and Mike Williams, who the Chargers took, were probably players we preferred more for various reasons. That being said, we're obviously not NFL scouts. We're not NFL coaches. We didn't go to the combine. We didn't do the interviews. We didn't go to the pro days. So when they draft John Ross, they kind of come out, they say all the right things. He's a guy, we see a spot for him in our offense. And obviously it has to do with the speed. I mean, the 4.22 or whatever speed that broke the record. And there's clearly some goal they see using this guy. They drafted him. They knew he was hurt. They knew he was fragile, but they still saw that, okay, he's going to be our deep guy, our third wide out or whatever, on three wide sets, that he's just going to run deep, pull a safety, maybe, open up the middle, open up something so we can get, work guys like Eifert, obviously going back to when he was still healthy, Green or, LaFell kind of underneath, somehow working him in. And so when you see him miss the first game or two, it's like, okay, I get that. He missed training camp, but then he misses another game and another game. And you keep hearing, well, he's healthy, he's practicing, but he's not playing. And the one challenging thing is, since we haven't been to practices, is it's obviously speculation, like with any good conspiracy theory. Is he not playing because they just realized, wow, this guy's just not as good as we thought he was, and we just kind of really whiffed on this pick? Or is it that traditional thing where it's like, oh, he's a rookie, we're afraid of rookies, we're not going to play him? Or was he truly just hurt all year, but healthy enough to kind of be a, healthy scratch? Are they screwing with people by saying he's healthy when he's really not healthy? And to me, it actually kind of reminds me of the thing you mentioned about putting him on IR if he's not hurt. Kind of reminds me of the whole McCarron thing, because his rookie year, he was hurt for a while, missed part of the season. He was healthy enough to play later in the year. The Bengals decided they were going to keep McCarron on IR, just didn't have to burn a roster spot, just kind of stash him. And by doing that, that pushes his unrestricted free agency out a year. And of course, you have the whole thing now where McCarron's camp is trying to get that moved up a year because they're kind of arguing, well, it's kind of crap. They put him on IR, but he really wasn't injured. So it'd be interesting to see if Ross is or isn't injured and why he, is going to IR. But the list you mentioned, it's very, that first round list, it's just a litany of guys who just can't stay healthy. I mean, Eifert actually was healthy his first year. They just didn't use him. And then they finally used him his second year and he gets hurt, the first offensive drive against Baltimore. Denard, as you mentioned, missed the whole year. Oboye, they drafted who was hurt and knew he was going to miss a year. William Jackson was kind of, I guess we got a double, bang that year because you had Andrew Billings drafted a few rounds later. And they both got hurt, before the season began. And then, this whole John Ross scenario. And the John Ross thing, it's also very frustrating because the year before, they used a second-round pick on Tyler Boyd. So in losing Marvin Jones, they've now used 2 picks in back-to-back drafts, high picks, number 9 overall, and their second-round pick on wide receivers. This year, I think they've targeted Boyd 15 times in, 12 games or something like that. And you mentioned with Ross, they've thrown the ball 0 times too. So it just makes you wonder what, I'm not really sure how to put words to it. What is this team doing when you're using back-to-back, high picks on receivers and then you don't play them? Are you just that bad at evaluating talent and you're just going to keep dipping until you get it right? And it makes, as a fan, I'm very curious to see what happens when, when the new coach comes in. What kind of playing time do these guys get? Are they really good and just not being used? Or does it turn out they aren't that good and that's why they're not playing and we just can't see that because they're never on the field?